all good. Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick little intro here. Then we're going to get to our first speaker of the day, which is going to be exciting. We have 4 speakers today, all experts in this area. So let me just do a reminder for everyone who's been here before and an announcement for all the newcomers that every month we are bringing you the best entrepreneurs and experts from around the industry to share the best strategies with you guys for growth on and off of Amazon. Here's the format. If you don't know, we have 2 to 5 guest speakers. This month it's 4. Each speaker is going to speak for around 20 to, at the max 45 minutes. So stick around if you're not interested in a topic. We have another one coming up. The topics will usually center around making more profits through a wide variety of approaches on Amazon / sometimes it's e-commerce in general. Sometimes, though, an opportunity is really, really good and we decide, hey, it's worth bringing up and bringing to your attention. So very rarely we'll find something that's really, really good and it's kind of a little bit outside of the box. So we'll still bring that to you because we do want you to get exposed to new ideas. And here's some important pieces that we like to remind you of as well. The reason why we are hosting these monthly masterclasses is to help you make more money. We never, ever, ever accept payment in any form. We never accept affiliate commissions from any of the guest speakers. You can't pay to be a guest speaker here. So it keeps the environment super clean. So that means that if we bring a guest speaker on to the monthly masterclass, it's because we believe that they can add value to you in some way. If you're not already in our WhatsApp chat, where we share hacks and we remind you guys of things like this, like the monthly masterclass, then you can join the private group here at joinprivategroup.com, or you can scan that QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that into the chat box, and then we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the first speaker here. Okay, here we go. All right, so I pasted that WhatsApp group into the chat box, so you guys should have it now. So now we are ready to just go ahead and dive right in. So the first speaker today is Mr. Alexander. So Alex, you want to go ahead and come on board with me here?
I'm here.
Here you go. Let's see if we can get you. Are you going to do camera and the screen share, or?
Just the screen share today. Actually, full disclosure, didn't do my hair today, so I prefer just keep people. Okay. I want people to focus on the presentation.
Okay, sounds good.
Not
so
my
I'm
messy hair.
Stop sharing here and give you. There you go. So you should be able to go ahead and share your screen, and we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah. Can you guys see my screen? I'm presenting PDF today.
There you go. You're coming through just fine.
Absolutely perfect. All right. Well, so first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I know it sounds a little bit cliche, but I'm actually really excited. Seth and I already had a podcast a couple of months ago. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you guys again. We have a great group of people today. I see we almost have 80 participants. So really a pleasure to be in front of you and bring you some value and show you what's out there in the market if you're not aware, and see how I can help you guys grow.
Just before, amazing, Alex. Yeah, I'll let you jump right into it, guys. I'm gonna kill my cam and be hanging out in the background. So if you have any questions for Alex as we go through this, just let me know in the chat box, and if it makes sense, I'll interrupt. If not, then we'll just get to the questions at the end. So go ahead, Alex.
Thank you, Seth. We will miss your good-looking hair today, unlike mine. Anyway, so Hyper-C is AI-powered intelligence for e-commerce. As you can see, my name is Alex. I'm a co-founder and EVP of sales. So what we do is we help you guys make more money, realistically, to put it in a nutshell. We are a data analytics company. We analyze different sorts of data, and then by letting our AI engine figure out what's the best next step for your organization, we can tell you what's the best PO to place in order to maximize your profits. So let's jump into the next slide here. I like this phrase a lot, actually, by CEO of L'Oreal. E-commerce is not the cherry on the cake, it's the new cake. And I know the cherry on the cake is not something that we actually usually say, but I think we all get the point that e-commerce is just something new, it's growing. And I'm so excited to be in this industry in the first place, because this is the only industry that's still growing. this is the only industry that's still growing right now, even within these times of uncertainty when the economy is literally dying. But e-commerce is still there, it's growing, and it's only going to grow. The only downside of it so far is statistics show average lifespan of the Amazon seller is only 3 years. So obviously we want to drive that average up by helping you guys. So what Hyper-C does in a nutshell, how we can bring you value is by tackling 3 big challenges that we see in the industry: cash flow, risk management, and missing data. So obviously, as we know, cash is king, especially right now, because everything is so uncertain. So the more cash on hand you have, the better opportunity for you to make a decision, more money to invest into certain products, and just overall gives you some sort of flexibility and confidence in your business by sitting on cash rather than on product that you have to keep paying for, and the product might not be trendy in a short time frame. Then risk management. Everything that we do in life has some sort of risk associated to it. So how do we become confident in our next steps? How do we become clear as what to do, and we don't have that little extra anxiety that we all go through by doing something that we don't know how it can turn out in the future? And then the third piece, in my opinion, might be one of the biggest pieces. As we know, huge companies like Google, Oracle, they all hunt for data. Data is gold. So while cash is very important, but we also know that without data, you don't really know what you should be doing, how you should be doing. And by us working with so many different sellers in different categories, different niches, we understand what that missing data is. And our AI engine has an ability to help you guys fill the gap for the data where you actually don't know what to do. So while working with us, you don't only we don't necessarily only leverage your data, but we also include industry knowledge to help you guys predict your best next step. So this is just like a quick visual slide that I wanted to present here. This is pretty much what is usually used by sellers and what's unused. So realistically, when we work with our clients, our prospective clients who are just in the beginning journey with us, most of them do not implement all of their knowledge in order to prepare their best next PO. Honestly, this is just a very complicated process because you might be using Google Sheets for one thing, then you might be using inventory management for your inventory, then you're using your Amazon data that's also not that easy to read. So there's a lot of moving pieces that a lot of people just, honestly, it's just hard. And you guys, as Amazon sellers, you all know that it's you guys don't have too much time even to think about these things because it's such a fluid market. Not a single book for e-commerce is pretty much valid for Amazon because Amazon is constantly changing things and it's just so hard to stay on top of that. So that's what we saw as a pain for our clients, and we decided that, hey guys, we as a company need to figure out the way how to help people to spend less time thinking about what they have to do with their data and how to analyze it better, but give them actually the opportunity to just reevaluate the data rather than actually combining it. So that's why this slide here is just important to me as a co-founder, is just to help you guys understand that there's so many other things that we can look at from different angles, different perspectives, and thankfully technology is actually helping us do that. Again, this is just a data slide. Quick, I'm not going to spend too much time here. This is just to show that we work pretty much with any data source, whatever you use. Some of our clients literally just using Google Sheets, and we're working with that. Some of our bigger clients, just a quick background. We work with aggregators, so they usually have some ERP system in places. So that's why Oracle, Odoo. This is something we also work with. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask if we work with some source or not. Usually we try to find a way how to work with any of them. And now I would like to show you how we actually help you in real life. So whenever you have to create a new PO, there's a bunch of options. It's like a blue ocean. So how I like to explain this, when you wake up in the morning, you have unlimited options. Do you want to get coffee from Starbucks? Do you want to brew your own coffee? Do you want to do Uber Eats? Do you want to get tea? Or actually maybe stick with water and lemon today. So you have different options, but you also have an end goal where you want to get by the end of the day, hypothetically. So you want to maybe have a chill day. So maybe ordering the strongest coffee is not an option. So maybe you should stick to water lemon. Same with supply chain. We have so many options to place orders, different products. Some products you can predict a little bit better. Some products are you don't have enough data for and you just roll them out. This is a new product, so it's going to take some time for you to figure out what's the next best step. So this is what we've created here. We created all of your options under one umbrella. So up here on top, the blue ones are usually the riskier products, and then at the bottom, yellow, it's the least riskier product or least riskier PO. So you have a smaller chance of pretty much missing your forecast. So based on your risk tolerance, you have an ability to choose what PO you want to go with. And you can evaluate all of them. So all you have to do is just click on any one of them. And I'm not showing this in live, but this is a specific example in Microsoft BI. We're partners with Microsoft, so that's why we're using them by default. But if there's another workflow that you're using, we're more than happy to integrate it into your own workflow. But the point here is we want to give you options. Then you choose one of these options. And then on the right-hand side in our tool right now, you will have an ability to see how much of each product and when to ship it. So we just literally provide you with sort of like future outlook of what you guys need to do. After you figure out what PO you want to send, all you have to do is create PO from selection, and your PO is going to be integrated directly into the data source that you're using. So in this case, we're using Microsoft Sheets, like I said, because this is a Microsoft specific example. But let's say if you're using ERP system already, then we will be able to integrate it directly to ERP system. So once you create that PO, it will go into your ERP system. This is where you have a time to evaluate what's going on with the PO. How do you want to proceed? Do you agree with this PO in the first place? And after that, you can make a final decision if this is what you want to do. Another thing that we do is just we're creating a small reminder for you guys, because again, like I said, things are fluid, a lot of things are changing, and we want to make sure that you're always staying on top of things. And by creating this little reminder of that you have to do something with the shipment PO, you're always staying on top of your things, and you don't forget that to send this PO out or to confirm this PO, or even get rid of it if this is not something that you feel comfortable doing. So at this stage, we're helping guys evaluate your options. We call it a smoke test. Why we call it a smoke test is because we're trying to understand your risk tolerance, and we're trying to understand if this is the PO that actually is going to be the best for your organization. Because like I said, there's like thousands and thousands of different ways how we can create the next plan for our business. But we are, as a company and working with you guys, trying to understand what's the best for you. So that's why this is called a smoke test. The next step is for us to help you scale. So scalability is something that's usually being achieved by months, between months 6 and 9 after we start working together, and I'll touch on this a little bit later. But the point here is to take as much pain from you guys, or take as much effort from you guys to do all of these manual calculations and manual efforts, and help you guys scale by trying something new with your business. So this is where we will help you integrate into our own proprietary tool. This is going to be your supplier card settings. So this is where you will be able on a fly to change things. So for example, if you know your lead times have changed, or you have something specific for your product. So like, for example, here at the bottom where it says add supplier card parameter, you will have an ability to add a lead time specifically for each SKU. So if, let's say, hypothetically, you have 10 products that you order from the same supplier, and 9 of them have lead time of, let's say, 30 days, but one of them is 50 days, all you have to do is just click lead time here, add SKU number, and then change the value 2 to 50. That's how we know that yours, one of the SKUs takes longer lead time. So you will have an ability to adjust all of these parameter settings, etc. And then eventually, this is where I was talking about scaling you guys. We want to help you create those POs in less than 1 minute. So before, when I was showing the earlier slide where you have an ability to choose from different different POs, this is where you can evaluate all of them. But once you're in the scaling mode and you just want to create and let it go, this is where we will help you choose the supplier you want to work with, choose the PO type, and then data lake accuracy zone. So supplier card is pretty self-explanatory. This is just the supplier you want to work with. PO type is usually client specific. So this is where you and I will work together and figure out like what PO types you guys have. And then data lake accuracy zone is the most important part. The reason it's important because there's 3 different types. There's a type of data that gets updated hourly. Let's say your Amazon is getting updated pretty much frequently. Frequently, you don't really have to worry about it because Amazon does it for you. So there's not much control you guys have. Then inventory management. You may have inventory management updates every week. So let's say your 3PL warehouse is sending you the updates every week, or maybe it's every 2 weeks. So that might be yellow data lake accuracy zone, meaning it's not too accurate, but it's still something that we could use. And then there's red data lake accuracy zone. This is the data that gets updated maybe once or twice a month. This is maybe your demand plan or your forecast. This is something that you just don't have time to update. And this is something that we have to work with and a little bit be more careful with, because obviously the risk is going to depend based on the data that we work with. Because keep in mind, by the end of the day, this is the computer and all it sees is numbers. So you still need that manual human touch to feed the proper data. But once you do that, all you have to do is click submit button, and then PO is going to be created. And this is the example of how all those POs are going to be created. So as you remember before, you could have an option of the POs. Now, once you click submit, there's going to be only one PO based on your risk tolerance. And then once it's created, all you have to do is just pretty much click on Google Sheets. So this is example where we translate every PO into Google Sheets, and then you will have an ability to review that and make sure that this is the PO that you actually want to go with based on what computer has created for you, instead of you going and reevaluating thousands of different POs during the smoke test. And if there's something that's wrong with the PO, for example, here, where we did not fill MOQ, then we can see that status has failed, and you can always go back, check what's happened, and make adjustments and create a better PO. And I just would like to show you now how it works in real life. So we always have trial periods with our clients. The reason is, first of all, we want to understand how much we actually can help you. So there are some clients that have bigger challenges, some have smaller challenges, and not everyone needs to work with us, to be honest with you, just because juice just might not be worth the squeeze, and your operations are actually fully supporting your efforts at this stage. So that's why first 2 months, this is where we work with you hand by hand, hand in hand. We analyze your data. We try to understand what's going on with your business. And this is where we can reevaluate the benchmarks of how much we actually can help you. So I will be able to distribute this PDF to whoever wants to see this again, or feel free to take a screenshot of this. But then pretty much after we analyze the data, and if juice is worth the squeeze, like I mentioned earlier, this is where we start discussing commercial terms, month 3. But between month 3 and 6, this is where we start these smoke tests, as I said earlier. So we will already be giving you the new POs that we think are most efficient for your business, but this is still going to be a comparison phase between what you guys do and what the computer does. And then month 7, this is where we put everyone into the scale mode. We start creating those POs more automatically. We have less and less touch bases between each other. We start working more automatically between each other, etc. And then month 10 to 12, month 10 and further, this is where we just pretty much are hands off. You guys are doing business as usual. POs are being fed to you through our computer, etc. When it comes to savings, the rule of thumb on average that we see is 2% of your, so it's extra 2% in profit for your 10 million in revenue. So if you're selling 10 million a year, roughly we can help you save extra $200,000 a year. And again, sometimes it's a bigger number, sometimes it's smaller. So for example, if we can only bring you extra $50,000, maybe, like I said, this is not something that you would like to pursue, because $50,000 for 10 million is not that huge of a number. But if it's $400,000, obviously that's something that's worth be discussing. And at the bottom here, I'm just showing how much we actually spend with you, because we know you're busy. Like I said, Amazon sellers really don't have time to spend focusing on other things besides their business, because it's complicated as is already. So that's why we usually start with 1 hour a week. Sometimes it's 1 hour every 2 weeks to help us understand your data better, make sure that what we see is what you see. And then after it's a smooth ride, we will be touch basing maybe like once every 2 weeks, just to make sure that everything is right. Or if there's a product you want to introduce and we need to reevaluate the options, or for example, there's something that has happened with a supplier that you need to let us know, and you're going to change the supplier, stuff like that. So this is going to be a minimal interaction between us. And then last slide is just to show you the timeline. So timeline is here, like within 8 weeks, we start the integration, and within 8 weeks, we should know what we're working with. data access, we have Amazon API, and then we have some data that we work with outside of Amazon API just to make sure we know your MOQs and other things for the supplier. We know your COGS, because we obviously want to help you drive the bottom line up, and by driving bottom line up obviously includes COGS in it. Expectations, like I said, bi-weekly touch basis to make sure we're aligned on priorities. Implementation is pretty much done by us, but you have to let us know what your goal is, how you want this product to work, what you want to achieve. And then after the trial is over, we will know what kind of savings we can bring you. You will already know the taste of the tool. You will know how it works. And if this is something you want to proceed with, then we can discuss further commercial terms. But like I said, in the beginning stages, we're just trying to understand if we are actually even the right fit for you. So this is the last slide. I took roughly 20 minutes, and I do not want to take more time from further presenters. So now let's jump into Q&A time if you guys have anything. And I do have some chat messages, but I don't think anything was related to me.
Hey, Alex. So I have a question. Just up and above your presentation, before we move on to the guest speaker or the next guest, like what is it right now that you're seeing as like the number one tip or strategy that you would recommend that a seller do right now, regardless of any solution or software or anything like that? Like, what's something that you would say every seller needs to be doing this right now?
I think right now it's very important to stay liquid. So a lot of the times things have changed. So we call this TikTok trends within our company. So there's a lot of products that just become trendy because somebody says something on TikTok, and then immediately it can go out of trend. And if you buy too much of it, you just get stuck with it. And now you have overstock. Now you, instead of sitting on cash, you're sitting on the product. So I think what I have recently heard the most was we need help with boosting our cash flow. We need to get rid of the products that's just sitting in our warehouse. We don't know what to do with that. And this is one of the biggest challenges for a lot of people, because the recovery opportunity is not there. And what I mean by recovery opportunity is you don't have enough capital to pretty much jump back into your level of sales, because you cannot afford to invest as much money as you did before. So I think cash is obviously one of the most important parts right now, especially right now when rates are high, hard to access capital, and the more liquidity you have, I think, in a better position you are.
Okay, great. That's great advice. So thank you so much, Alex, for coming on and presenting today.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys need to reach out to us, just go to hyperc.com or shoot me an email, alexander@hyperc.com. Again, we'd love to just, and if you have any just like other thoughts or questions, not just regarding the product, but industry, or you have some questions about other products that you were evaluating, just feel free to shoot us a note, and I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
All right, Alex. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Seth.
Thanks, Alex. All right, let's see here. If we can move on to next guest, we have Mr. Ben Smith from Seller Candy. Ben, welcome.
What's going on?
Post Purchase Pro Monthly Masterclass. Excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Seth, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's see here. If
Wonderful.
Let's get Alex's turned off, and then we can allow you to share, Ben.
Cool. Let me make sure this works. I've got a very brightly colored pink screen. Can you guys see it yet?
There you go. We got you.
Love it. Real quick, before I dive into this, I just wanted to say, Alex, I can definitely resonate with what you said. I definitely got caught up in the fidget spinner craze right after the peak, and ended up with thousands and thousands of units with me and another business. So not fun. So I can definitely resonate on that side.
If you have some left over, I would be more than happy to take them. They calm me down.
Yeah, honestly, they probably are still floating around an office somewhere. So I'll have to look into that.
All right,
Good
Ben.
stuff.
So I'm going to be hanging out in the background, keeping an eye on chat. If anything is super relevant at the moment, I'll interrupt you, and then we can chat about it if you'd like, or we can wait until the very end for questions. Okay?
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Any questions?
Give
them to me. I'm ready.
Okay.
Good stuff. So I'll try to keep this to about 20 minutes. I know that's just to save some time for questions at the end. But today we're talking about the really exciting topic of frameworks for dealing with pretty much any Amazon issue that might come up. and a really simple framework for task delegation, how to actually choose the right things to delegate to the team that you already have, or maybe the team that you're looking to have in the future, depending where you're at with your business. And ultimately, all of this is to get you back to probably the reason that you started an Amazon or e-commerce business, which is to have more time control and freedom financially or what have you. So real quick, I'm just going to tell you guys Seller Candy. So currently I work at Seller Candy. I'm the head of sales and marketing there. So I get to talk to a lot of Amazon sellers and agencies and just hear about all their different issues. I always joke we need a Amazon therapist on those calls because there are many issues that come up. But real quick, I won't spend too much time here. What Seller Candy does is we provide outcome-driven support for sellers, agency owners, et cetera, just to deal with any issue that might come up on Amazon. So ideally, get you to a place where you never have to talk to seller support again. Here's our menu of services. Feel free if you want to screenshot this. Otherwise, it's always on our website. You can check out later down the road. I already mentioned it. I'm the head of sales and marketing here, but I've also been in the weeds. I'm not a massive Amazon seller, like probably some of the people that are watching this, but I've done, multiple six figures in my various private label brands, done retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, managed brands. So I've seen a lot of different stuff, and it's been a really fun ride. Today, what we're going to go over, a couple different things. So first, we're going to look at the exact framework that our team now is about 70 or so agents that we recruit directly out of, ex-Amazon seller support staff members. This is the framework that we actually go about to resolve issues when they come up on our clients' accounts. And this framework is something you can steal and apply to your very own Amazon business, whether you're at the point where you're having issues, which is probably 95% of the people in this, or you're not having issues yet, if you're just getting started, perhaps. I will go over just one example of kind of a live demo, so to speak, of a critical issue that you're probably going to face at one point or another, or maybe already have. And then I am going to, at the end, just mention a bonus offer to get access to our team for free, which is just a really cool option if you need some additional support. We're also going to talk about how you can actually leverage the various options you have in terms of expert assistance to free up that time in your business and ultimately scale it. And as I mentioned, position yourself more as the owner rather than the operator, which many of us have found that we fall back into kind of that operator stage, and that's not the place that we want to get stuck in. And then the last 2 points here, how to actually figure out and identify what are the things that you really need to get off your plate, and maybe what are the things that you actually should keep on your plate or on your team's plate. That's a really important decision, and we have a framework that we're going to give to you of how to actually go through that process. So a few reminders before we jump into this. Selling on Amazon. So it should not be about waking up every morning and pulling your hair out, freaking out because maybe you got that email about a performance notification or something else, and you personally diving in to fix all the problems. Maybe you should do that sometime. It should not be an all the time thing. I always like to say those emails always seem to come on Friday afternoons. You're ready for a long weekend. Amazon should not be about grinding 24/7, trying to do it all yourself. There's certainly a time and a place where it's great to do things yourself and kind of get that experience and learn how to do it. But that time comes and goes pretty quickly. There's no secret marketing hack. I know, Seth, I know you guys love talking about the hacks. There are many different hacks. There's no one silver bullet, right? So we all know that. And ultimately, selling on Amazon should not be about having some kind of complicated hiring, training process, et cetera. So part one, let's just dive into this. So first, we're going to use the framework to actually get issues resolved. We know that Amazon is constantly changing. So it's always tough to give, a very granular look at really, really individual issues. So we like to give this framework in terms of how you can kind of go about and instruct your team to look at different issues as they arise or before they come up, and then go to work to get them resolved. So quick example here. Problem. All right, we've got it. We have a performance notification. It's a suspended listing. And of course, who's behind all this? None other than Mr. Bezos. So these are the steps that our team goes about to actually resolve a issue with a listing. Number one, the first step that we're going to do, first of all, calm down, don't freak out, don't pull your hair out. We need to stop and assess. What that means is, if you have some text already, you're reading between the lines. If you've gotten a performance notification, trying to understand what does that really mean. We know sometimes Amazon doesn't always tell you the reason something has happened, right? Stopping, assessing that, then gathering any information that they might be from you, whether that means, for example, we need to make a listing update. We might need to go and get our category listing report, which, side note, if you have not done that or are not aware of a category listing report, that is definitely something you go and find in your Seller Central account. You can download out pretty much an Excel template that has every single listing that's currently in your account. And then this will be kind of a base that you can use in the future for updating listings. And it just makes your life a whole lot easier. So anyway, we also like to do one other thing here. So after we've kind of assessed what's going on, we do in a lot of cases take what we call a long shot approach. Now, not to be honest, 95% of the time, this does not work. What this means is we're going to go and open a case with seller support and try to get them to tell us exactly what happened or what's going on. Obviously, this is not applicable in every single situation. And most of the time, Amazon's going to come back with a canned response. That being said, I have been pleasantly surprised in instances where they actually will come back and maybe give you a little bit of insight about what's going on that you can use going forward. So long shot there. Once you've done that, step number 2, troubleshoot. Now, of course, there's different things that could come up in terms of a suspended listing. So just to list a few, product policy violation, we might need to go in and sanitize the listing, take out all those keywords that are maybe gray area that Amazon doesn't want in there. If it's an authenticity issue, we're going to need to grab our invoices, those, and annotate them. Remember, one on the other end is treat it like it's a 5th grader. You need to really call out exactly what Amazon is looking for. So I like to put big, bold, red arrows, boxes, all of that stuff. Gather your invoices so you have them ready to go. IP violation, we need to reach out to a brand owner. Product safety issue, we might need to prepare and upload a plan of action to appeal. And last but not least, hazmat, we need to hazardous ingredients and then either prepare our SDS or our exemption sheet. So essentially at this stage, regardless of the issue, even if it's not a listing issue, we're doing the troubleshooting steps. So this is where it definitely takes some experience or maybe some research into if you're a newer seller, figuring out what those options are or what they actually want. But as you go, you'll hopefully, or as you build your team, you'll have that experience and know exactly what things you need to do during this troubleshooting stage. Okay. I like to say there's kind of a part 2B here, troubleshoot some more. So sometimes, let's say we've gone and we've uploaded our flat file to make those changes to our listing to troubleshoot it. Amazon might tell us, hey, no, it's we're not going to update it. So there is, and this happens in a lot of instances. We see that doing delete relist on a listing, which a lot of issues on Amazon are pertaining to listings, is going to solve a lot of issues. So just one thing to call out. Again, it can be very scary if you've never done it before, but troubleshoot some more. Now, this could apply to anything else. Maybe if you've submitted a plan of action, Amazon kicks it back, they ask for something else, you might need to reply with your additional troubleshooting steps. If none of that stuff works, we're now moving on to escalating the issue. This is, many of you guys have experienced this. This is where we have to go, roll our sleeves up and put in the hours, hopefully not hours, but hours to essentially get on the phone with seller support and try to get an agent who will listen and deal with their issues, right? Now, this framework might not seem like it's anything profound, but the reason that we have to go through and do this is because I'm guilty of doing this as a newer Amazon seller, but if I were to just go and immediately start with opening a seller support ticket, what's going to happen is I'm going to get kicked all around seller support. And at each different stage, they're just going to ask me for all of the things that I would normally do in the troubleshooting step. And so what we want to do is essentially turn the process on its head. And that's why we have this 3 process, which is stop and assess. So in this case, we stop to assess what's actually going on and gather the information we need and open a long shot seller support case. Then step 2 is going to be do the troubleshooting steps. So whether that's uploading a new flat file, submitting invoices, plans of action, and 2B here, troubleshoot some more. So delete a listing and maybe re-upload it, and then escalating. When we go about it this route, we can go to Amazon and give them all the troubleshooting stuff. So essentially, we're creating a paper trail to back up our argument of why we need to get this issue resolved. They're going to ask us for what's the batch ID of that flat file. Okay, now we have that. We can give it to them. So we can show them, hey, we've already submitted plans of action. Hey, we've already reached out to your brand owner. We've already uploaded the invoices. This is going to cut down on the time and the back and forth when dealing with the issue overall. So that is the 3-step process that we look at and can be applied as a general framework when you come to dealing with any kinds of Amazon issues. I'm going to pause for a second to breathe here. Seth, are we good? Any questions popping up? All right.
Got to get unmuted there. So Ben, we have Scott saying in the EU, they are required to give you the details of, the case. Why is that not the case in the US yet? Or is that not the case yet in the US?
Oh, good question. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I have rarely experienced an instance in the US where Amazon is telling me what exactly needs to happen. I mean, we all know Amazon is vague, right? And in many, the worst thing is that in lots of cases, now I know different people will tell you different things on it. Amazon, that oftentimes the fastest route to resolving an issue is for you to admit guilt to something when we're, let's say, about a plan of action or anything related to an appeal. That might not always be the right answer, but generally fighting with Amazon is just going to prolong issues. I guess what I'm really getting at here, I don't know the answer to that. I wish they would tell us exactly what we need to do every single time, but the reality is it doesn't always happen, right? Seth, any other questions?
I think so far we're good, Ben.
Okay, cool. So let's get into part 2 here. So part 2 is kind of discussing how to actually go about getting expert support without the drama. Now, of course, this is really going to be dependent, and I don't have a ton of time on this call specifically to dive into all the different options out there. But I'm going to just kind of address essentially the do's and don'ts and some of the framework here. Now, this is going to vary, of course, depending on who you are, where your business is at, what your team currently looks like, your aspirations, all that jazz. Now, the challenge when I've talked to most Amazon sellers, and I normally talk to 10 or 20 a week on calls, and they're all across the board, different stages, just started to big internal teams, big name brands that you would recognize. One of the struggles is that when you go and hire an employee or you hire first freelancer or there's this kind of honeymoon stage where maybe you think that person's going to take all these burdens and problems off your plate. I've been there before, and you learn quickly that you're actually creating a second job for yourself. Normally these people are going to need your guidance. Depending on their level of expertise, you might be upskilling or training them. With freelancers, sometimes it can be really challenging to always trust that they're getting everything done. You might not always have transparency into that. And then one of the biggest things that I like to is this applies mostly on the freelancer side, or even having one in-house person, is you don't have redundancy. And that person, we all know Amazon has so many nuances. That person might be really good at the 10 things they do, but what happens when that one kind of outlier comes up that they don't know how to resolve? And that could be a critical issue, right? Ultimately, what you're looking for, it's very simple. 2 things: experience and numbers. So getting access to ideally a larger team or solution or group of people that's well paid, but ultimately does not cost you so much that it's going to break the bank. Obviously, as business owners and operators, you're concerned with your bottom line, and that's something that's to be mindful of. So it comes back to experience and numbers. Now, these can be always challenging to find, but the benefits, as I mentioned, these are going to give you redundancy, so you don't rely on that individual person. Scalability, so you want to try to find a solution that allows you to scale. It's getting an Amazon involved, a team like Seller Candy's team, or multiple VAs, what have you. And ultimately that expertise. And this is a big one. We know Amazon has changed really, really rapidly. It's very hard for you to stay on top of all the changes unless it's your full-time job. You're literally in and out all day, every day, and you're monitoring updates that are happening. The next, how do you choose what to actually go and delegate? And this can help inform maybe which solution you actually delegate to, whether it's an in-house person, a freelancer, what have you. What we like to look at, and this is the last part of my presentation here, but is we like to suggest doing what we call an Amazon seller gap review or gap analysis. So essentially we're taking kind of a accounting framework, or a framework and to the Amazon view. Now, of course, you can broaden this and look at it. They're also selling perhaps on Walmart, or you have other channels. You can take this and extend it there. For the sake of this example, I'm just going to focus on Amazon. And what ultimately the goal of this gap review is to just, for you, take a step back from your business. Maybe take an afternoon or take an hour. You could even take 15 minutes and do a very quick version of this. But we want to look and kind of evaluate what is our current presence on Amazon? What's going on with our account now? Then we want to highlight kind of all of the steps that it's going to take to reach our goals, whether that's our goals this year, or the next 5 years, next 10 years, or maybe our goal is just to exit, and how do we get to that point? Ultimately, open up a fresh perspective and kind of give you a real sense, without hopefully your emotions being tied into it, how you're doing now. And the final step here is then identify the main things that we can then implement a system to help actually go about resolving or delegating or dealing with, that are going to make the biggest impact up front. So a couple more slides on this. So what you're going to do is, in the current state analysis, so the first part of this is go in your Amazon account and literally just take a step back, and you're going to go and look through everything. Well, what does your Seller Central backend look like? Your listings, are they optimized? Do they have good images? Are they suppressed, or do you have some kind of issue in the back end? Maybe a suppression issues. Those are not fun. Reviews might be terrible, might be really good. How's your PPC? Are you doing any PPC? These are all the different kinds of things. Expansion opportunities you've investigated going into additional markets. All of these literally go and just bullet point things out as you think of them. And you can put them in kind of pro and con columns as you wish as well. So once you have that, next step is then to identify the impact of each point. So we're going to look at each one of those elements that we've actually gone and written down. And then I like to do it normally on a kind of a 1 to 10 scale, but if addressed, asking myself this question, if addressed, how much of a difference is this going to make? Is that listing that never sells at all? If I get that unsuppressed, is that going to move the needle? Probably not. But if my PPC is off, that could be a huge opportunity that I really need to consider investing either my time or someone else's time into. And then the other one, this one, our good friend Norm, the bearded one, he reminded me of this. One of the best things to always think about as well while you're doing this, think about the things that you personally like doing that maybe you want to keep doing, and those that you hate. If you hate, like I hate anything related to finance, accounting, when it comes to my e-commerce business, that is not something I want to do at all. I want to get that off my plate immediately. So think about that. And ultimately, the goal of this is to take the stress out of knowing kind of what are the things that really either your team should be working on, or that team that you're going to outsource to. Once you've done that, the last few pieces here, but we're then going to want to look at this from a cost time analysis to evaluate really how much time is it going to take, what's the investment that's needed at each of these stages, and then compare that to the priorities. So which ones are going to make the biggest impact? A lot of times this might be adding new product lines, expanding to new markets, implementing a really good PPP strategy, and identify really those top priority things. And again, this is going into now our triage system. So determining really the things that you either are going to do in-house or outsource to that team. So once you've kind of gone through this is going to give you kind of, 1, the fresh perspective. 2, it's going to literally give you the steps that you need to kind of achieve the goals that you're looking for, whether that's on a 1-year timeline, whatever timeline you look at. And ultimately, this is going to be the thing that allows you to make a big impact, hopefully immediately in your business, and have a clear plan to follow or to give to your team members. And from here, then you can go about delegating to your team, which we don't have a ton of time to get into in this current video series, but we can talk about hopefully down the road. So, Seth, any questions so far? Otherwise, I've got one last piece here.
Well, let's see here. We have Daniel saying, I've submitted many action plans over 5 years. I ran my FBA businesses, and he found the most effective thing was always format the POA with headlines and bullet points. Headlines being the points Amazon requested in their comments, and bullet points to show what you have done to address those. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Pretty much. Yeah, honestly, once you've dealt with a POA once successfully, it's normally going to be pretty much the same format every single time. That's a great framework for looking at it, right? I always just like to say, remember the person on the other end at seller support is literally probably reviewing hundreds of these on a day-to-day basis, or thousands. I have no idea, but we want to try to make it as easy for them to go and look at it and say, yeah, the seller has done everything that we need, so I can go ahead and reinstate that listing or account or what have you. And so that framework is honestly great.
So Daniel goes on to say exactly what you said. Remember that the person on the other end needs to tick a box to say that they addressed, or that the seller addressed each point. So give them an easy reason to tick the box. That's really good feedback, Daniel.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff.
Go ahead, Ben.
Any other ones, Seth? Cool. So just the last little bit here, I mentioned earlier in this, every seller, watching this is at a different stage, and you might not be ready to necessarily get more than one person, or maybe you're just getting your first VA, or maybe you have an in-house team. But we're going to talk real quick about just a kind of a bonus here, how you can essentially leverage the Seller Candy team to supercharge your business, right? And side note, we found from talking to a lot of the Amazon sellers we work with, that the average small, medium-sized seller spends 10 to 15 hours minimum weekly on their Seller Central account. Certainly that's going to vary quite a bit, but I saw a Jungle Scout stat that literally said 40% of sellers also have a full-time job. So if you have a full-time job and you're also trying to put in 10 to 15 hours, things can get challenging, right? So we all know Amazon can be complex. Dealing with issues is inevitable. If you are one of the lucky few on this call has not really had a lot of issues, they are going to come up. We all know that. And you need that access to, or to, some kind of expert that can assist you. Ideally, before the issues come up. You certainly can wait, but ideally, you want to be prepared in the event that they do. So, quick one here, but again, I mentioned it. We have 70 people on our staff. They're ex-Amazon seller support members, and so if you do have a specific issue that right now help with, and you don't want to go and dig through all the forums, or you are kind of already have done that gap analysis and know the next steps in terms of getting to your goals, and you just need some help along the way. We do have an option called Ask Seller Candy. And what this is, it's actually a free service that we've just recently launched. It's free for the first 6 months. It pretty much allows you to get access to our team, ask questions. We have 250 Central accounts that we manage. So we get to see a lot of hands-on weird buyer issues and the day-to-day stuff. Essentially, you can come and every time you literally can start submitting tickets or questions to our team, ask them, hey, I have this exact issue. Can you tell me what I need to do next? And we'll go and kind of break down the details. So really nice solution, and something, that I personally wish I had when I first started my Amazon business. It's, of course, Google's an option, but then you have to go through endless amounts of YouTube videos and different things. So the cool thing about this service, it's free. To be honest, it's free for the first 6 months. We might start charging in the future for it, but right now it is free. So go and grab that if that's something that's interesting to you. And start submitting questions, ask us, whatever you have. I'm not the expert anymore, so hopefully you guys don't have a ton of technical questions. If you do, go sign up for Ask and submit them there, so I don't have to personally stutter and deal with them on this call. So I think that's it, Seth.
Okay, so Phil jumped in and said, signed up for Seller Candy a month ago. It's great. Darwin has been a lifesaver, so getting some love there, Ben.
Nice.
So that's good. So
Thanks,
guys,
glad to hear.
if you have any questions, I'm sure Ben will hang out for a few more minutes. You can type them into the questions box, but I think we handled everything as we went through there. Ben, let's see.
Yeah, just stop my screen share there.
Okay, so great. So Ben, really appreciate you coming on and sharing today. That was good.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. All right, let's get Daniel going here. Hey, Daniel.
Hi, Seth. How are you doing?
Hey, doing really well. So let's see. I think you should be all good to be able to share your screen.
Yeah,
And
let me
we'll
see.
just jump right into the next. Yeah, this is great. I love the speed at which we transition here. All right. So Daniel, I'm going to be hanging out in the background with questions, but as far as I'm concerned, you are ready to take it away. Have your screen. Audio's good. Go ahead.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me, Seth. And just to touch on what Ben was saying, it's almost as if you read my mind, Ben, about what I was going to present on, because you said you didn't like the accounting and finance side of things and you wish you could just outsource that. So just give me a call afterwards and we can sort you out.
Absolutely.
So today I'm going to be talking about the 3 accounting mistakes that can cost you big time. What we're going to go through today, first of all, who am I and why you should actually listen to me? I'm just some random guy that's popped up on Zoom, so I'm sure you want to know that. Why accurate accounting is so important, the 3 mistakes themselves, and the software option that can automate your accounting accurately on autopilot, and then a Q&A at the end. So why you should listen to me? So I was an Amazon seller before I started Link My Books in 2018. And between 2014 and 2018, I actually scaled 2 Amazon FBA businesses. The first one was 6 figures, then I sold that. And then I used the cash from that to then launch 25 products in the second business over a period of 2 years, built that up to mid 7 figures, and then sold that one in 2018 as well. And what I learned from that was that accurate accounting is vital when you come in to sell up, because revenue is vanity and profit is sanity. That was what my first business partner in my first Amazon business told me. That a lot of businesses like to talk about. They've hit $1 million in revenue. They're doing 10 million in revenue, but not as many businesses want to talk about profit. And obviously, that's a bit of a secretive subject. But at the end of the day, it's profit that matters, not revenue that matters. And buyers need the confidence in your accounts and taxes if you're going to come to sell your business one day, which I'm sure pretty much everyone is thinking about an exit at some point. So in 2018, I teamed up with another ex-Amazon seller, Pete, my business partner, who lives in Australia, and some e-commerce accountants to build Link My Books. And basically, we are a software that automates your e-commerce bookkeeping. We work with not only Amazon, but Shopify, Etsy, eBay, and also now Walmart, and then TikTok Shop is coming soon as well. We've got about 8,000 sellers around the world, mainly in UK, US, and Australia. So that's why you should sort of take what I say with a bit of pinch of salt, as they say. But just to be clear, I'm not a tax advisor at this point. So what is accurate accounting and why is it so important? So the way I like to think about this is inaccurate accounting is like running your business in the dark. You're not going to make many good decisions in that case. The problem with that is that it can lead to you basically focusing on the wrong things. So for example, if you're running a business where you're selling in Amazon North America and you're also doing some stuff in Europe, and most of your time is spent on your European side of things because you've got so many different languages for translations, you've got inventory going into different countries, you've got VAT registrations coming out your ears, but you're making most of your profit in North America, then that's you focusing in the wrong area. Like, fair enough if you've seen a good expansion potential into Europe, but once you've tested that for a year and you've realized that actually you're still making 90% of your profit in North America, then really you should be focusing on your core market and you should be trying to expand that out instead of spending a lot of time somewhere that's not making money. But if you don't know that, because you're not doing your accounting down to that level, then you might just think that actually I've expanded into Europe and now I'm making more money than I ever was. And it's all to do with the fact that I've expanded out to Europe. So just bear that in mind. It can also lead to things like poor cash flow, because if you're not on top of your numbers, then you can order too many products in one go and you can end up with potential cash flow problems, restricted growth in general. And then the number one thing, which is going to become the overarching theme throughout this presentation, is overpaying or underpaying taxes, which we'll touch on later on. So with accurate accounting, you can make much better decisions with the right information. So I'm just going to... Okay, so the three mistakes themselves. So the first mistake is using the wrong reports. And so I know that Ben was saying that you like to get this straight off his plate. So I know that a lot of you out there will also be thinking, well, wait a sec, my accountant does all this. All I do is I just pass him the reports and he sorts it all out. And that's fine to outsource your accounting, but you still need to know that they're doing it correctly. We've worked with over 8,000 sellers now, and obviously a lot of them had accountants that were doing this for them. And what we found is that upwards of 75% of them, including the ones that were using accountants, were making some form of mistake that was ending up with them basically paying too much tax or too little tax and then getting penalties down the line. So the way that people make mistakes, the first way, is they use the wrong reports. So this is a typical report from Amazon, the date range report, date range summary report is what it's called. It basically summarizes, you've seen it before, the income and the expenses. But the problem with something like this is that it just doesn't contain the level of detail that is required. So if you're one of those people that's sitting out there now on this Zoom call and you're saying to yourself, I use that report and I just pass it to my accountant and he just sorts everything out, then I would question that the data you're giving him is enough in order to give him the opportunity to provide you with accurate accounts. And you might actually find out that if you did it properly and used the right data, then you would end up actually saving yourself some tax at the end of the year. And the reason for that is because those data range summary reports just do not contain enough data. So for example, a few things here, they don't contain the destination country of sales. And that's really important, especially if you're selling in the UK, Europe, or Australia. So if you're a UK or a European or an Australian business and you're watching this presentation, then you will know that you've got VAT registrations, you've got GST registrations, and that your sales are taxed differently depending on the destination of where they go to. And so a lot of people just assume that, oh, well, I sell everything on Amazon UK, so all my products must be going to UK customers. That's actually wrong. So Amazon have the global shipping program, and it's something you can't, well, you can opt out of, but it's something you're opted into automatically. And so what that means is that even though you're selling just on Amazon UK, your products are being shipped all over the world. And therefore you need to be able to exclude and separate out the sales depending on the destination. The same in North America as well, depending on the state they're going to. Obviously different sales taxes will apply. You might have some sales tax registrations or permits in some states, and then Amazon might be collecting for other states. Same with VAT and GST as well. So the destination country is one thing. The amount of tax that's applied, that's not given in that data range summary report. And the fact that Amazon or you as the seller are responsible for those taxes, again, is not included. So you need to get that level of detail from other reports within Amazon. So you can use things like the VAT transactions report, the sales tax report, but basically using the data range summary report is a big no-no. The other thing is that the data range summary report is a monthly report. So Amazon obviously makes payments into your bank account every 2 weeks, normally for most sellers. And these data range summary reports are for a month generally. So you put a report into your bookkeeping system in Xero or QuickBooks with a month's worth of data, and then you're getting deposits every 2 weeks. So the problem becomes, how do you then line those things up? So what most people do is they have like a virtual bank account for Amazon.com or Amazon.ca or whatever. And then they basically put the sales figures and the expense figures into their accounts. And then whatever the balance is, they put into a clearing account. And then every time they receive a payment from that marketplace, they put that in the clearing account as well. And if they're really lucky, they match up. But that basically never happens because they're getting payments every 2 weeks and the report is every month. So what happens is you end up with a balance that just sits in this clearing account. And you probably tell your accountant that, oh yeah, that's just the money that Amazon owes us. But without you actually going down into detail and looking at that, you never really know if that's correct. And so what people end up doing at the end of the year is to make these little adjustments where they just roll those balances forward. So it becomes a total bookkeeping nightmare, basically. And all of this can result in inaccurate accounts and paying too much or too little tax, which is obviously something none of us want to do. So number 2 is making human errors. So again, let's say you're using the right reports now and you're pulling everything into a spreadsheet, then you've got the human error aspect. So now dragging down the wrong formula in Excel or copying and pasting the data wrong from one report into Excel into your bookkeeping system, or just missing one of the many steps of like, you need to download this and then you need to put it in the spreadsheet and then you need to use this formula to work out where the destination of the sale is, et cetera, et cetera. Just missing one of those steps can give you a drastically different result, which can, again, result in inaccurate accounting, leading to paying too much or too little tax. And then the last thing is basically wasting too much time doing this manually. What we found is that from the 8,000 sellers we're working with now, on average, they say they used to spend around 6 hours per month doing their accounting. And that was either them or their bookkeeper or accountant who was doing it for them. And if they were paying a bookkeeper or accountant to do it, I can guarantee 2 things. 1, they're paying more than they would pay for a software to do it. And 2, their accountant doesn't like doing it anyway. Like they would rather analyze the data and provide value-add services to you as a client than spend hours on end doing a spreadsheet and typing figures into your Xero QuickBooks account. I can guarantee it. So instead of downloading reports and running through Excel and manually putting all this in, software can do all this for you with a much greater accuracy than what you could ever do in a spreadsheet. And it can do it and save you 6 hours per month. And so that's where Link My Books as a software solution comes into play. So Link My Books effectively sits in between the sales channels like Shopify, Amazon, eBay, and Etsy. And we've also just added Walmart. And as I said, TikTok Shop is coming soon as well. And then your bookkeeping system, Xero and QuickBooks. And so effectively how this works is every time you receive a payout from a sales channel, any of those sales channels, we are connected to those sales channels through APIs, through like approved apps on their app stores. We go in, we collect all the information that makes up that payout, so all the different transactions. We then break those down into summary invoices, which can be posted across to your bookkeeping system, either one by one. So you can either do it from this page, you can click send to Xero or send to QuickBooks. Or once you're happy with the setup, you can literally just turn on autopilot. And every time you receive a payout, we'll break it down and we'll post it across to your bookkeeping system. So those breakdowns are done into sales by destination, refunds by destination, fees by type, all the different taxes, and all the other transactions that go through your payouts as well. And the way that we do that is we basically download all the transactions, and then we look up every single order that was part of that payout in order to guarantee that the correct account and tax rate is used every single time. So you end up with an accurate summary invoice for each payout, which matches exactly the amount that came into the bank. And that's where it becomes really cool. Because once you've posted these across, or once they've automatically been posted across to your bookkeeping system, you end up with this as your monthly task. You go into your bookkeeping system, you see the deposits coming in from Amazon, and you see a corresponding invoice which matches up automatically from Link My Books. And that invoice breaks down everything it needed to. It goes into the correct sections of your P&L or your income statement, and all your taxes are accounted for 100% accurately. And literally your job is to click OK in the middle, or match if you use QuickBooks, which means that instead of you spending 6 hours or paying your accountant to do that, you've now literally taken that to like a 1 or 2 minute task per month, which makes it obviously very, very straightforward. Now, I didn't want to go too much into sort of sales of why you should use Link My Books, but anyone who wants to give it a go, we've got a 14-day free trial. You can literally connect it up to any of your sales channels, your bookkeeping system, give it a whiz, linkmybooks.com, or you can book a one-to-one demo call with either me or one of our support team who are all made up of qualified accountants at linkmybooks.com/meeting. And if anyone has any questions that don't come up now and you think of later on, then daniel@linkmybooks.com is my email address. And that's me, Seth. Short and sweet.
Yeah, that was really good. So I have a couple questions here, Daniel. So let's pull these up. Okay, so Scott says this is spot on. Rarely does Amazon's reports match up perfectly to the deposit. The reconciliation report should match it dollar for dollar. So that's kind of a comment. And then Kate says, what are the best reports to be using from Amazon, Daniel?
Well, it really does depend on where your business is based. So, for example, if you're based in the UK, then you need to be using probably the settlement reports, which you can get. They're called the flat file V2 settlement reports, which you can do through, if you go into reports, payments, all statements, each of your payouts from Amazon is a settlement report. But then you also need to cross-reference each of the order IDs with the VAT transactions report, which is a monthly report which Amazon produces, and so that you can tell where the destination of the goods was and also whether the marketplace or you was responsible for taxes. The same sort of reports apply to the US side of things as well. They're just called different things. So the sales tax report and the order report, for example, from the US side of things. But the overarching message here is that, yes, it is possible to do manually what we do through software. But the real question is, why would you want to? Like, why would you want to spend all of that time when you could use something like Link My Books to totally take that off your plate, automate it, and the fees that we charge are pretty small anyway.
A couple more questions. Sylvia says, QuickBooks now pools Amazon data. Would that conflict with your reports?
Yeah, I think QuickBooks did actually recently acquire OneSAS, which was one of our old competitors. And I think that they pull everything in order by order. The way that we do it is different. We do it based on settlements. So the reason that that is beneficial in my mind is because it means that you know that everything is reconciled. So you know that you get a deposit from the sales channel for, say, $10,000. We generate an invoice which breaks down what that $10,000 is made up of. And that then goes into your QuickBooks account and it matches off straight away on your bank statement. If you pull in individual orders through, I think that's how QuickBooks integration does it, then you're still in the same position of you've got tons of orders that have been pulled into QuickBooks. You've now got to also account for all your fees, and then you've got to somehow make it reconcile back to the individual deposits that have come into the bank. So the way that we do it is we always start with the foundation of the settlement in mind. So the payout is the foundation of what we do.
So I have to ask here, Daniel, Gail says, great session with that northern voice. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from, I actually live in Sweden, believe it or not, but I'm from the UK. I lived up in Newcastle for most of my life, so from the Northeast.
There you go. So Gail nailed it there. Mike says, are all different European VAT rates supported?
Yes. So the way that works is, say you're a UK business and you've got a UK VAT registration, but you've also got some European VAT registrations as well. You're more than likely working with a third-party provider like Avalara, Avast, or Taxly, or something like that to calculate and file your EU VAT returns. And so your Zero account or your QuickBooks account will be set up for your UK VAT return. So what Link My Books does in that sense is we pull all the data through for all of your sales, and we account for whether it's UK VATable or not. And then the sales that are EU VATable, your EU VAT provider will tell you how much VAT is due. And then you literally just make the entry into your bookkeeping system yourself to say, I've paid this much German VAT, back it out of the sales account, and that's it, your job done. So even a EU, pan-EU VAT registrations customer can be half an hour a month and you can do your whole bookkeeping. We've actually got a really good help article which talks about that. I personally was pan-EU VAT registered as well back in the day, so I had 7 EU VAT registrations plus the UK. So yeah, been there, done that.
Okay, Freddie says, so it's 100% reconciled each settlement payout. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and then Scott says, what if we have MAS 900 or SAGE 100, and we may or may not have all the needed fields. Any commentary?
I'm going to hold my hand up and say I've never heard of those two things. So I would have to speak to someone in my team who is an expert on whatever that is. So maybe if Scott can ping me an email with a bit more, and then
Okay.
I can pass that to the relevant member of the team.
Okay, great. Let's see.
We've got experts in every country, basically. So there'll be someone who will know that.
Okay, so so one last or a couple more questions. Sylvia says, how far back can you pull the data?
So the default is with a free trial, you get 90 days. But then if you subscribe to a paid plan, you can go back up to 2 years with scope to go back even further, as long as Amazon's APIs still have the reports available. We've recently worked with a customer who wanted to go back 4 years, and that was possible. So it depends on how many reports are still available from Amazon, basically. But yeah, most of the time, absolutely all the time, at least 2 years.
Scott says, wow, it's a large ERP in the US. So looks like.
All right, okay. Okay, yeah, so at the moment, we only work with Xero and QuickBooks, being that they are the main players in the English-speaking countries. If you've got a custom ERP, then unfortunately, we don't work with that now.
Okay. The better question is, how long will Amazon refund you when you catch their errors? Do you have any insight there, Daniel, before we move on to the next
So
speaker?
I actually wrote a blog post not so long ago, which I can put in the chat after this, about how to reclaim VAT on Amazon seller fees, if that's what they're referring to, in that if you weren't VAT registered and Amazon were charging you tax on your seller fees, and then you became VAT registered and they stopped, then you can actually get them to refund you all of the VAT on those fees. So I actually wrote a blog post on exactly the wording to use and to send to Seller Central in order to trigger that process. It can take like 3 months, but eventually you'll get the money back. So if that's what they mean, then I can definitely share that help article. But
yeah, that's perfect. Please do, Daniel.
Yeah, well, I'll hunt it out now and I'll send it. And then I'm off to a 30th birthday party, so I'm gonna have to dash.
Your 30th birthday?
No, a friend's.
Okay. All right. Well, happy birthday to them. So thank you so much, Daniel.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's move on to our next speaker. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's bring on Mr. Darius Irani. Darius,
what's up,
welcome
Seth?
to the Post-Purchase Pro Monthly Masterclass. Glad to have you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So I think I have the settings correct where you can share your screen.
Okay. Maybe walk me through this, because this is, so I'm going to share it and then let me know if you see.
All good.
You're good. All right. Well, Seth, thank you so much for the opportunity. Also, Sean, I don't know if he's on, but I appreciate it as well. Today, we're going to be looking at cracking the Amazon code, how to successfully launch products every time. Now, let me ask you this, Seth, real quick. Is there any, oh, there we go. Okay. I was just going to figure
Darius,
out.
I'm going to hang out in the background in the chat box. If anybody asks a question that's relevant, I'll jump in and ask you. If not, we'll get to the questions at the end. Okay. So I'll let you kind of take it away. But if you need me, I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So hello, everybody. My name is Darius, and I've been an e-commerce entrepreneur for 10 years. And in that time, I've learned the importance of creating a gateway product. Now, you're probably wondering, what's a gateway product? And let's get into it. So the gateway product gets your foot in the door to build a massive list of engaged customers. What problem are we solving here? Well, most hero products are difficult to launch on Amazon. I'm sure you guys know that, because the barrier to entry is large and the competition is very high. With huge competition, it's difficult to carve out a piece of the market. So use a gateway product strategy to open the first order with new customers, and then use the customer list that's generated from the gateway product to launch the high profit products that you really want to sell. All right, so first we're going to get the audience's attention by using a cheaper, low hurdle product as the gateway to your sales funnel. Stay with me here, I'll explain everything. So Sean and Seth hit $10 million in sales in their first 18 months on Amazon, using this as one of their unique strategies to scale quickly. You can see this is one account here in 2 years. So they learned that now they use this exact process for launching every new product. So this product launching strategy will be your new tool that builds an amazing audience, because you should never stop at the first sale. The initial order on Amazon is only the beginning. So instead of making sales to create customers, you're going to think about creating customers so you can make sales and boost your profits so fast through follow-up marketing that it's almost unreal, all while blowing away any competitors you see pop up along the way. Well, you probably have a lot of questions, but let's dive in now to how we're going to do this. Okay, so we're going to try to demand Amazon shoppers' attention with an amazingly popular but super simple, low barrier product. This gateway product will complement your core product and help you build a list of raving fans that you'll use to sell your main and most profitable product or products. So this means that even if you're selling a highly competitive product, you can use a low-priced gateway product on Amazon to generate a massive list of customers that you can launch your core product to. So you're basically setting your future products up for success by building this list up. And you're going to do this by creating a gateway product that has a pricing advantage. So the easiest, it's one of the easiest way to build a list for actually free and maybe even make a little money doing it. I hope you're getting excited. One of the things that you might notice is you see some cheap products on Amazon and you wonder, how are they making any money doing that? And you might just be seeing the tip of the iceberg here. You might just be seeing somebody building their marketing list that they're going to use to market future products. So it's a very smart strategy. So let's look at this in detail. So there's 3 steps I want to go over. So let's talk about the first one. So we're going to find a low cost, easy to launch, low barrier product that complements what you're already selling. Think, what else would a customer need or want before or after purchasing my main product? So here's a real example from one of Sean and Seth's products. They wanted to launch the original bamboo pillow, but at the time it was a very competitive product with a high barrier to entry when they launched it. However, using this exact strategy, they crushed the competition. They found this sleep mask product as their gateway product, less expensive, easier to sell. It was the perfect way to capture 250,000 orders that were responsible for building a ready-made list of 50,000 customers that could be used for launching and selling the product that they really wanted to sell, the product where they really made the profits. Makes sense, right? Well, let's get into how they did it. They launched the sleep mask at a very competitive price where they barely broke even, but it helped them build a massive list of buyers who have already digitally identified themselves as buyers of sleep products. Your niche is going to be very important, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. You have to have a similar product that you're going to be launching because they've identified themselves as buyers of this product. So it's what they did next that's important as well. So here's the second step of it. The first step we talked about deciding what gateway product you're going to get. Now we're going to launch into the second step here. So create a product insert that offers the customer additional value by opting into your list. So don't forget, it's about them, not you. You'll want to enhance their experience with your product by adding something valuable that can help them get the best results with your product. So with incentives like priority customer service, VIP memberships, extended warranties, free samples, digital products, ebooks, videos, etc. And you'll notice not one of these things actually has to cost you any money. It doesn't have to hurt your bottom line, but yet you're really providing value to the customers, and that's what's going to draw them in. So when using this technique with the inserts, we typically see a 20 to 30% opt-in rate when done correctly, but there has been cases where we've seen over 80% when all the cards line up. Okay, so step 3 here. So we talked about a gateway product. We talked about building an insert that's going to be put into that gateway product that's going to go into Amazon, so you can offer people a way to sign up and get onto your list. And then you're going to need to use an email or text autoresponder that automates the process of collecting your customers' information, and then use this list of people who have already identified themselves as active customers to market additional higher profit products. So the overall idea is to use an inexpensive, quick selling product like Sean and Seth did with the sleep mask to build a list, and then use that private and valuable list to sell all the complementing products that make you real money. So let's look at this visually. There's going to be a value ladder here. So it's going to be something like this. So order 1, you might break even. Order 2, maybe you'll make $25 profit. Order 3, $100 cumulative profit, so on and so forth. So the concept here is we're increasing the lifetime value of the customer over time, instead of, as Amazon wants you to do, and make it more transactional where you're buying your customers every time. We're going to create more of a brand loyal customer here, and that's going to only increase your profits. Okay, so here are the 6 G's to win at this. Number 1, go find a popular low-cost product to sell. 2, get something that complements your main product, right? We talked about that. The sleep mask was a perfect complement to the pillow. Grab the low-hanging fruit, the easy sales on Amazon. Give your customers a reason to opt into your list. Gift them with valuable offers they can't refuse. And then get your main product launched successfully. Yes, it's this easy to do, guys. So here's a pro tip. You must manage your new customer list well. Consistently drip or email or text your customers so your brand stays top of mind. So once you've got this list, you do have to do something with it. It is work. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. You are going to have to work at it, but it is something that is very, very doable. Don't forget to add value to your messages while promoting your other upsells. Remember, value is important. You're constantly thinking about how you're adding value to the customer instead of what you can extract from them. So one of the ways to do this is to use educational marketing, is to show you're the authority on the subject. And remember, never be afraid to ask for the sale as well. Okay, so let's put all these steps together with a practical example. Hopefully this will make more sense to you guys. So let's say you want to sell an expensive pizza stone that's highly competitive with very high minimum order quantities. Say something like this: $50 pizza stone, it's on sale for $43. You know this is something that has a lot of competitors, and you also know the manufacturer wants you to buy thousands. So before you invest a ton of money, let's see what we would do with this strategy. Number 1, as we talked about, let's get you a gateway product to build your list. One of the best ways to look for gateway products is in the frequently bought together section here. So in this example here, we see a pizza cutter. Inexpensive, you know, it complements, you know, somebody who's going to be interested in making pizzas well. So you're gonna focus and buy something that's similar to this pizza cutter, and you're going to do a highly optimized listing, and you're going to use breakthrough pricing. Because remember, our goal here isn't to maximize profits. We want to get volume of customers so we can build a massive list of hungry pizza buyers, right? So we're going to then create a product insert once we've identified our product that gets the attention and compels your customer to opt in. Something like this, right? It's simple, it gets their attention, there's a clear call to action. The key here is going to be making sure that you add value. You want to make sure that you give them a lot so that people are going to want to scan that QR code and go to your website and sign up on your list to get whatever you're offering them. And then once they do that, you're going to use this email list, an autoresponder, to automate the process of collecting your customers' information. So maybe they're going to go into a sign up form, and when they sign in, they're going to go on your welcome series, where it's going to be automatic emails that are going to be sent to get them warmed up in the process. So, for example, you'll maybe offer in this scenario free pizza recipes monthly to get buyers to opt in. So you're going to be marketing your other products with this list that you're generating here. Now, remember, this works very, very well, but this does take time. As I mentioned, this isn't some quick get rich quick scheme. You know, you're going to be having to put work into this, maybe tweaking your inserts, figuring out what works best, working on your emails, but this does work. everybody else is going to maybe be thinking you're just not figuring this whole thing out. You're losing money, but you are thinking big picture, and this is smart Amazon selling. All right, guys. So here are some of the numbers. So we talked about 20 to 30% opt-in rate on average. Obviously, not all buyers are going to opt into your list, but those who do are going to be excited to do more business with you because you've delivered tremendous value and amazing customer experience. Sean and Seth sold almost 250 sleep masks and collected over 50,000 emails, and then they used that list to successfully launch their bamboo pillow, and the rest is post-purchase pro history, guys. All right, so let's put it all together. Here's summary. So number one, we're gonna pick that low-priced Amazon gateway product like the sleep mask, and then we're gonna include an insert to build a customer list. And then you're gonna use that list for email and text marketing to drive sales on your core product, which will then in return organically rank that core product and produce tons of sales, which in summary will produce more money, more money, more money. What we're all looking for, guys, right? That's it. Any questions?
Great job, Darius. Thank you so much for running through that. So guys, what Darius ran you through there was a strategy that we've used in the past where you launch a low barrier product. You then have higher volume because you're pricing it with a better offer, making a better offer out there. You have more orders coming through. So you build a list that then you can use to launch the products that you really care about, like, you know, launching a sleep mask in conjunction with a pillow. Great job, Darius. So
Thanks, Seth.
great job, Darius. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, guys. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Felice says that was a great explanation. So great job, Darius.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
One moment. Okay. Oh, here we go. Gail says, how do you get the email list when Amazon doesn't give them to you? So Gail, one of the things that Darius kind of touched on there was, you know, you have to make an amazing offer on your product insert, and the offer has to be value oriented. So when you're thinking about building an email list of your own customers, the first thing you need to think about is, what would my customer be thinking about when they have my product in their hand? And you want to make an offer that really grabs their attention and is so good that they can't ignore it in that moment. So the example that Darius gave you was that stop sign sticker. Well, that stop sign sticker worked amazingly well on the pillow, but the pillow was packed or tightly packed. It was a shredded memory foam pillow, and it was vacuum sealed, and it looked like it was going to explode in your face if you opened it, right? And so that stop sign said, hey, before you open this pillow, come and see this important instructional video. Well, you don't really need an instructional video for a toilet seat or or you might for installation, I guess, but you don't need one for a pizza cutter, right? So the product and the customer really matters on what that insert should be and look like and things like that. So long story short, the insert that speaks directly to your customer is a great place to start building a customer list. Let's see, we have more questions coming in. Kate says, excellent, thanks, but not always easy to find the low-cost complementary product in every niche. That's true, Kate, but what you can do, like in the example here, is you can bundle an affiliate offer to make your more expensive product a better offer. As an example, a pizza cutter might be a $10 product. Maybe that's not the lowest price product, but if you bundled an affiliate offer from Domino's to give that customer a free $17 pizza, now the value equation is so skewed in your favor that it's almost free because you're getting such good value on the back end. So you have to think a little bit outside the box sometimes too. It's not only a high volume, low price product, but it could be a high volume, a little bit higher price product that you can make an amazing offer on. So great point there, Kate. Marina says, this is not so easy for supplements. What do you suggest for supplements? Well, Marina, the thing that you want to think about with supplements is, what supplement am I selling, and who's my customer, and what is that customer buying the product for? If you're selling a creatine powder for weightlifters, well, they have a completely different goal in mind when they're buying your product than if you're selling them vitamin C serum for their skin, right? So what is my customer buying the product for? And then how else can I help them along the goal or along their customer journey in reaching their goal? So if I'm selling creatine for a weightlifter, I might not find another supplement to use in this process. I might go find a weightlifting product or something like that. But if I'm selling, vitamin C serum for my skin, I might go find another beauty product that almost all of my customers would be interested in helping with their appearance, right? So you have to think about, why is my customer buying the product? And then how else can I help them achieve that goal in their life? All right, we have Marina says a general supplement for whole food multivitamin for men. So if it's the more generalized it is, then the more you need to dig in to figure out who's actually buying your product, because there's still some commonalities typically of who's buying my product and why are they buying it and how else can I help them achieve that goal. So a multivitamin man is probably trying to, feel more energized, or he's trying to have better health so he can, live longer, or what is the reason why he's buying that product, and then find an adjacent product that complements that same goal. So great question, Marina.
And I can also give an example too, if with that, like we also very popular these days. I'm in the hair care industry, and so these hair care supplements. Maybe it's something with a beauty supplement, which are really blowing up these days. But maybe in the supplement game, you know that they're interested in strengthening their hair, so you could do a less expensive hair care product that isn't in the supplement realm, but your customers are the same.
Yeah, great point. And it's so fitting because you have such great hair.
It's funny. This blur is like, my hair is getting so long.
That's funny. All right, so let's see here. So Darius, can you see my screen?
No, I need to stop sharing mine.
Okay, yeah, stop sharing yours, and then I think I shared mine.
Now I can.
Okay, great, guys. So if any of you are interested in building a customer list and using the list to grow your business, launch products like we talked about, like Darius talked about, that's what we do every day. Post Purchase Pro puts on the monthly masterclass for free, but what we do for a living is we actually build out post-purchase follow-up campaigns with email and text marketing. We brainstorm these exact scenarios with our clients every day. So if you go to postpurchasepro.com and you look on the top half of the screen, what you'll see is a little analyzer tool that we have. And basically you can put in your store URL and it'll spit out a report. It'll email you a report with what we think your business should be producing in extra sales using email and text marketing. So I'll drop that link in the chat box if any of you are interested. It's really a simple thing to look at there, but see if I can make it happen. There you go. So guys, just let me know in the chat box if that link came through okay. But on the top half of the site, super simple, just plug in your store URL. It should analyze your store and then give you a report on what's actually going on. All right, so David says, what is the better platform to start chat with US customers? Is it WhatsApp or Telegram? So David, we use WhatsApp, but I don't really have much experience with Telegram. So if anybody has experience with Telegram, then maybe you can chime in. But David, we actually use real text and we use WhatsApp. And I like WhatsApp pretty well right now because it actually allows you to build a texting list as well, because you get everyone's real phone number that you can interact with. And it's like a real live relationship there. So let's see here. Kate says, oh, she's recently signed up with Post Purchase Pro. I'm excited to get everything going. Kate, that's amazing. I'm excited as well. So just take a look at that. Darius, this has been really good. Guys, if you just want to have a chat, then we can organize a call with you all. And we can take a look at your business and just strategize about what might work in terms of an insert, building your list, just strategy. So, all right, Marina says, just signed up as well. Looking forward to working with you guys. Gail says, great. That's all come through. Another great session. Gail, thank you so much for the kind words. All right, guys. So this has been another episode of the Post Purchase Pro Monthly Masterclass. Before we jump out of here, since our last speaker is Darius, any other thoughts or ideas that you want to share, Darius?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, if there's any questions, I'd happy to answer it. I've done it myself. So that's it. Appreciate it.
All right. Amazing. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us through another session. We'll see you all next month. Thanks a lot, everyone.